Alright guys, we're back out here on Thor right now. We have a couple of small things we're going to do today, mainly because I want to get this truck started so I can troubleshoot a couple of things, the exhaust issue and the fuel leak issue in the engine. So yeah, let's get started on that. Let me show you what we're going to do here to start with. So start with, we're going to be right up here in the engine. I removed the air conditioner and I need to get I removed the front air conditioner and heater, and I need to put in a bypass. So I went on Amazon and I found this really cool heater bypass valve that allows me to be flexible in the size, whether it be 5/8 inch or 3/4 of an inch. I've got a couple of connectors for that, but I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try to disconnect these hoses right here. You can't really see them down here, but you can see them. But right here and right here, I'm going to disconnect those clips right there, so that way I can try and get this bypass in there, so that way it doesn't shoot engine coolant inside the truck. So let's get started on that. All right, I want to show you guys something. This is just absolutely ridiculous here. So I'm in here trying to figure out where I'm going to put this bypass line in for the heater. Originally I was trying to aim up in here, but there's just a lot going on right here, and I don't want to take out the coolant tank to do this. So I was kind of following the lines back up over into here. Oops, right there. And I decided I was going to try and come after these connectors right here, and potentially come in on top of this. But as I was looking at it, I was looking at this hose right here, and it's a little hard to see right there. Let me see if I can get it a little bit closer here. But you can see right here on the top of this line, right there. I mean, this hose has been split, and then they use a zip tie to keep it all together, and that is the hose that is connecting from the water pump to this hard line right here. At least I think it's a hose. Maybe it's not a hose. Huh. Because that's very hard in there. What if that's just a hard line and they're just using it to cover a crack in it? Ooh, y'all. Alright, quick update. So I opted not to come after this side over here because of that crappy looking hose that I don't like sitting there. Instead, what I ended up doing was coming up over here and putting this bypass on right here. So I disconnected the copper pipes that were inside the cab anyways, which I needed to do. And then hooked in this bypass right here. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and fill this up now with some engine coolant just to have some in there, and we'll go from there. All right, so now we're on to the next thing. Got the engine bypass thing in there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here, we're gonna tackle what was supposed to go right in here. On top of this bracket. What was supposed to go there is something they take out as part of the demill process. So as they're getting this thing ready to go, they will come in and remove this one part here. This one part is called the positive crankcase valve. Thanks to my good friends over at Midwest Military, I was able to get a new one of these things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this thing installed. Yeah, I mean, they've got all the mounting hardware already on it. Yeah. So let's get this thing going. So the other thing I did do, besides just getting this, I ended up getting new hoses as well. So I got new hoses in here. And the reason why is because when I looked at the hoses up here, I was not happy with them. You got the one hose, which is right here, that comes into the air intake. And then you have another hose that, let me see if I can kind of get a good view here, where you're not seeing my arm the whole time. So you can see this hose right here that I'm kind of wiggling around right there. And that hose snakes around over here and comes in here. Now this, oops, sorry, you can't see that. It comes in over here by the oil fill cap. This helps regulate the airflow in and around the engine block. So I don't know all the details behind it, but I do know that this can be this valve missing can be a leading cause of blow-by inside your engine. So I went on Amazon and found a bunch of these C-clips for like, or I say C-clips, these clips here for like $12.99. I got like 100 of them, various different sizes and stuff like that. So I'm also going to replace these hoses as well, just because I don't like the condition that they're in right now. So let's get started on that. See, look at all this dry rot cracking that's happening on this hose right here. New hose. They make it really simple. Look, they even label it front for you. Number 2. See, I mean, it's still just like cracking inside there. I'm gonna take a minute here, guys, and show you just kind of how ungracefully they do stuff during this demill process. So inside of here, let me get my pliers really quick. Let's see if we can't jerk this out of here. This is part of the actual valve itself. But they just kind of cut right off. Instead of fussing with unscrewing all this stuff, like, their goal is just to get it all, oops. It's just to get it all out. Anyways, I'm not gonna fuss with it. That's part of the actual valve itself. The piece that's inside this hose right here is actually this underside piece right here. So they just ripped this off or cut it off, and that piece is still actually stuck inside the hose here. So all new brand new one. We're gonna get it wedged into there and get the hose connected to it, and yeah. You guys can't really see what I'm trying to accomplish here because everything's kind of in the way. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. So I'm trying to get that hose to pop down in there so it shows up right inside that hole right there. You can kind of see it down there. And then I'm going to squeeze this one on here to the air intake. Beautiful. All right, let's get that top one tightened down really quick. There's that. All right, so while working under here, it is possible and probably easier for me to come in through this side here. So I'm going to attempt to find a nice place to mount this camera in here that I can still work with. Cool part about not having a windshield is that I can just kind of reach in here and do what I need to do. That could have been bad. Let's see if that'll crank onto it. All right. So, to recap before I started here, I got the positive crankcase valve fix, which is kind of like right up in there, right there. And then I got the heater core bypass on there so the engine coolant doesn't flow out of the all over the place. Let's give this thing a start and see what happens. Oh, and I hooked the batteries back up. So again, 2 big things that I'm looking for right now: exhaust leak and a fuel leak. So we're gonna kind of poke our head in here a little bit. We're gonna take a look here, because this is where the exhaust leak is, someplace in here. And then hopefully I can see, wait. Look at that right there. There's my fuel leak right there. If you guys can see it dripping right there. It's off of this injector line which goes across the engine over here. So let's see if we can go ahead and get that repaired. Oh, repaired. Okay, let me clarify, guys. I was wrong. This is not an injector line. This doesn't go to an injector. This is part of the fuel filter right here. As you can see right in here, these are the fuel filter lines. So this line right here, the one that I'm having the issue with right now, that goes to the fuel pump, which is on the front right side of the engine, I believe. I hope I'm right this time. And then the second line that comes off the fuel filter, which I don't have an issue with right now, this one goes to the injection pump, which is tucked up back in there. You can't see it from here, but it's back up in there. Don't worry about that. So the one that I'm having the issue with right now is coming from the fuel pump to the fuel filter, And that is the leak that I'm having right there. So I'm probably gonna end up replacing this whole line right here to do it. And if I do that, I'm gonna pull the fuel filter off, which means I'm just gonna go buy the fuel filter replacement, so that way I can come in here and just, you know, really clean this all up. So clarification, back to our regular schedule video. All right, so right here, we were in here troubleshooting this, started it up, trying to find a source of an exhaust leak over here still, which there still is one. I think it's the blower, or at least the pipe, but I can just feel air, just exhaust comes shooting off of this right here, right here in this area here. So there's still an exhaust leak there I gotta fix. The fuel leak, so we found one up here. It's still leaking. The only thing I can think of is maybe I gotta get this hose put on a little bit more, and that'll help it. But then another leak, which is probably not gonna be so easy to see with this angle here, is right up in here. I think it's coming off of this injector, not this one here, but the one that's back here. I'm just getting a ton of gas coming out of there, and it was just basically, I could see it. I mean, it was all just dripping straight down here. So I don't think it's a fuel pump. I'm sorry, fuel filter, which is right here. You can't see it in this shot here, but the fuel filter is right there. It's not that. It's also not the injection pump, which I thought it was as well. I still have my throttle sticking, but I did find one leak, which is right here. I'm going to fuss around with this hose a little bit more a little bit later on. And then the other one is down there. It's one of those injectors. So, and look at this. You can see the gas buildup right here from this top drip here. So we got some stuff to do. I might just order some new lines, the new soft lines here. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think.